Welcome to our Purpose podcast. We are People and Purpose, dedicated recruitment professionals with deep roots in the HR community. We're here to help you prioritize people, along with a connection to your purpose. At People and Purpose, we believe that fulfilled people make successful companies. We're redefining recruitment by leading with purpose and empowering candidates and employers. We know your mindset matters, and once you master it, you can change your world. You can create the life you desire, build a successful career, and connect with your purpose for yourself, your family, and your community. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. You're part of a community of like minded individuals striving for personal and professional growth. Through our online courses, career coaching, and this podcast, we'll help you experience more freedom and fulfillment. Join us as we delve into a wide range of topics around generalist HR, L&D, Rem and Benz, industrial relations, OD, change management, HR technology, recruitment, and much, much more. By connecting with us on LinkedIn or Instagram, we'll keep you updated with new HR roles, thought leadership posts, industry discussions by subject matter experts, and updates on the HR market. There's always something new and interesting to learn with us. Subscribe now to invest in your future and career today with People and Purpose. And if you think anyone might enjoy this podcast, please share away. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining in on our podcast today. We're excited to talk about this topic because we've touched on it before, but this is a further reach into it. So today we're going to be talking about menopause and some really cool things that these guys are doing in this space. So we're joined today by Nicole and Georgie from Metluma. Now, I love the way that the name came together, ladies. It's like a combination of two words. So mettle, a person's ability to cope with difficulties in spirit and resilience, and Uma, the mother goddess of splendour and tranquility. So I love those two together. So thank you so much for joining me today, Georgie and Nicole. Georgie is the co-founder of Metluma, and she's an experienced entrepreneur and CEO. So she has a passion for health and technology, and as founder and CEO of Spring Day, a digital platform to measure and improve well-being, she built that business into a multi-million-dollar global organization operating across 13 countries. No mean feat. So she's a digital health expert with decades of experience consulting and advising on many digital health startups. Georgie is passionate about innovation in health and well-being, particularly women's health. And she's a keynote speaker, strategist, consultant, and currently on the advisory board for the Corporate Mental Health Alliance Australia. Now, Dr. Nicole joins us today. She has over 20 years experience as a integrative GP. Oh, that word always gets me. This has helped her to develop a wealth of experience in understanding the patient journey and meeting people where they're at. She's traveled the journey with thousands of women, so we're very lucky to hear from her today. She blends her private practice with work in GP education and training and as being a clinical adjunct in the National Institute of Complementary Medicine. So I would love it, Nicole, if you could break down the symptoms of menopause for everybody, because I'm sure that there's lots of things that we don't know actually exist.
Yeah, thanks, Emma, and thanks for having us on. It's really delightful to
Thank you.
be here.
Thank you for being here.
So, I guess the first misconception that people may not understand is that menopause is actually one day in a woman's life. So, it's defined as 12 months after your last period. In Australia, the average age for that is 51.
Mhm.
So for some women, their cycle can start to change, and they're counting down 6, 9, 9 months, 10 months, and then they'll start to bleed again, and then you have to start again. So it's a retrospective diagnosis 12 months after your last period. Now,
Mhm.
having said that, there is a conglomerate of symptoms that can occur. Depends on the literature you look at, somewhere between 4 to up to 10 years before that one day in your life. And that's what we call the perimenopausal transition. And here at Metluma, we like to break the break the symptoms down into 28 main symptoms.
Mm.
Again, depending on the literature you look at, some people are quoting up to 100 symptoms. The reason why we're using 28 at the moment is to just kind of discern the main ones and also ensure that people are seeking appropriate help if there are more serious symptoms and not just saying, oh, it's menopause.
Mm.
So we break them into three buckets. The first bucket is the physical symptoms. So they're things that most people would know, like hot flushing, night
Mhm.
sweats. In that perimenopausal phase, women will often experience a change in the menstrual cycle, whether that be a shorter cycle and a heavier bleed, or sometimes it's a longer cycle and a lighter bleed, or anywhere in between. Breast tenderness, there can be a flare in headaches and migraines, weight gain, skin changes, joint aches and pains. And again, I put the caveat around that while these are the main symptoms of menopause, it is important to speak to your health care practitioner around whether something else is going on, particularly
Yeah.
in relation to the cycle. Then we talk about the cognitive and emotional, so all the roller coasters that come with, hormone fluctuations, difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, anxiety, depression, and low mood, which can also trigger irritability and rage, increasing premenstrual tension. Which are really difficult symptoms for most women to navigate, particularly in the busyness of our lives at 40 in our 40s to 50s. And then the third bucket is the ones that women often don't speak about. So these are usually the symptoms around the genitourinary system. So
Yeah.
frequent urinary tract infections they may not put together with perimenopause and menopause. Urinary incontinence, so urinary urgency, needing to go to the toilet all the time, vaginal discomfort, dropping libido, painful intercourse. So, that's just kind of a blush of the things that
Yeah.
we unpack in our medical world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much to deal with.
There's a lot to deal with.
There's so much to deal with. And so, can you tell us why you brought this organization together and what your mission is?
Well, I guess that basically we want to empower women. We are looking to empower women and explore a new model of care. We've just skimmed over what is a range of symptoms in menopause, and you can imagine even if you're not aware of what it is, or even if you are aware of what it is, you're showing up to a primary care system that's very time pressured. The way
Mm.
that primary care is set up at the moment, consults are quite quick, so even to unpack all of those symptoms in one consult is really tricky. So
Yep.
Georgie and I have teamed up to explore a new model of care where we're collaborating to use what we call a high-tech, high-touch model. So we want to use technology to
Mm.
educate, uplift awareness, encourage behaviour change, and empower women with information, and then free up the humans to do what the humans do best, so that women can go to their doctor empowered with what's going on and start the conversation on the front foot.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. Really.
Thanks.
And and so, like, Georgie, next question is for you. You've done a lot of research on the impact of perimenopause, menopause on working women. Can you share some of these findings with us?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting, Emma, is that for the first time in history, we have the largest amount of women over 40 working ever. Like, we're finished high school, we're now finishing university, and here we are in the workplace.
Yep.
And then I think not only are we in the workplace, but we're also working mums. Some of us are, but a lot of us are also working with aging parents. So we're in a very unique time, and we've never actually done a lot of research into this. So Nick and I are passionate about actually unpacking that. RMIT then did a study, and it basically said that if you can have an uplift of 10% of women in your executive leadership team, that will deliver shareholder value of over $100 million for the average ASX company. So we know that women in leadership is working, and it's what we want. And then it's like, but how do we ensure that we have the talent pipeline coming through
Mm.
to ensure that we can put these women into leadership? And so what we did is we said, okay, we do have a lot of multifaceted approaches to women in work and continuing to work. But we had a thesis that perhaps perimenopause and menopause played a part in that. And so we were lucky to get some funding from the Digital Health CRC, and we had researchers from QUT, Macquarie, and Swinburne with us.
Yep.
And we went and did a whole range of qualitative interviews and surveys. And without doubt, 100% of people who knew what perimenopause was does say that it impacts a woman's career trajectory at work. It's not the only reason, but it is a part of that reason. And interestingly, the other finding that we had is that there was an absence of male voices. So whether they felt not qualified to talk about it or that it's too taboo, and that those that had no idea what perimenopause was obviously couldn't understand what the potential impact could be. So I think this is really important to call out that menopause and midlife health for women is a society issue. It's not just a female problem, and we need to get men in for part of the solution.
Absolutely. And like, so on that, like, what can businesses do? How do you get men to come into that? Because obviously it does affect the workplace so greatly.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is education. Across the board, we have a health literacy issue in this country. And you
Mm.
could argue, well, why aren't we teaching it in schools? And so, Nick and I go and speak to the schools and say, hey, is this a good place to start this conversation? And the schools are going, well, we're trying to educate girls and boys of what they need to get to 25, let alone what we need at 45. And so we know that the health system is talking, the education system is talking about it.
Yep.
Then we say, well, can the health system talk about it? And we're like, well, yes, they will get there one day. But at the moment, our health system, as Nick said, primary care is so stretched that they're really trying to keep sick people out of hospital or, that whole space. So I
Yeah.
think that there is an opportunity for corporate Australia or even some very big consumer brands to take ownership of this space. And so I suppose, Emma, with call out to your audience is let's get people talking about this. And
Yeah.
then the big thing is once we've spoken about it, we need to help women track what's going on in their bodies. And so we can use technology to help with that. And then finally, we need to help women manage their symptoms. And that's getting access to the right medical care at the right time.
Absolutely. So can you break down what your product actually does and
Yeah.
how big corporations could, take it under their wing and maybe adopt
Yeah,
it?
we've got 4 aspects. So the first piece is that uplift of health literacy. And so that's when Dr. Nick and our network of experts can come in and present masterclasses or write content to really try and distribute that piece out there. The
Mm.
second piece is, a scalable digital solution. And so, we can enable people to download our app. We've got a digital menopause journey. And then
Mhm.
we run behavior change programs. They're about 28 days and they're focusing on sleep, mood, nutrition, and stress. So we can really help with that. And then we look at our app as well that's got the ability to track your symptoms and sort of see where you're at. And so then we can have that triage and sort of red flagging approach that then we can say, hey, based on what you've told us, we think you need to see a doctor. And so then they can come and see us, to Nick, and our suite of doctors, or that we can push them out to their own network and say, go back to your local GP.
Yeah.
So we are trying to really look at a shared care model because our primary health care is, under stress. And we
Yes.
can't just expect all our general practitioners who know a lot of things, but I mean, Nick can talk to this, but they're not trained in menopause. And so how can we really work with those doctors to support that? And
Yep.
then what we've validated with Western Sydney University, once again, funded by the Digital Health CRC, is a group medical model. So one doctor can support 10 women. And as we know, there is a lot of richness in that shared experience. And everyone goes, oh my God, that's me. But maybe, Nick, you want to talk to your firsthand experience and the results that we had in the research.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, sure. So just to back up Georgie's comment, we're not looking to replace the primary care physician. We want to work really closely with them. As GPs, we have to know a lot about everything. And if you want to take up a special interest or something, it's often then a personal interest of taking a deep dive into skin um, or menopause or whatever it is that you have
Yeah.
an interest in, or asthma. So it's unrealistic to expect all GPs to be across menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why the digital kind of the awareness piece and the digital uplift is really important to go to your doctor, for women to take with them empowered.
Yep.
The research was really cool. We had some funding, as Georgie said, from the Digital Health CRC and worked closely with Western Sydney University. We had 54 women that were randomised into 3 arms. One was the digital only. the second was group consultations, and the third was one-on-one counselling and consulting. So the group consultation was a 6-week program that was led by myself and a registered nurse. It was incorporated a 1.5-hour Zoom session, for want of a better word. And we structured it in different topics that were related to menopause. And it was a really beautiful experience, just that kind of validation of experience, shared learning, shared lived experience, and then sourcing accurate information together was really lovely, and we were a bit sad to see that end. The quantitative data didn't show a lot of change in terms of our research, but the sample size was small and the intervention was short. But the qualitative data just pulled at my heartstrings. There were some really lovely comments that the women made around how it just changed their perception of the transition and how they felt more empowered and a greater sense of control over this time as a result of being in the group. And it was similar for the one-on-one, which was an initial kind of comprehensive assessment by me, and then 5 coaching sessions from a nurse.
Yeah. And I'm sure during that, with the feeling in control, feeling empowered, one of our key values at People and Purpose is actually empowering women so that they can have choices. And it's not like our mums or our grandmothers ever spoke about the change. It was all cloak and dagger sort of stuff. And it's so good that this conversation's coming to the fore now. So women can they can listen to the experience, they can listen to the experts and confidently go in and ask questions and know that they have choices over there managing their symptoms or where they're
Yeah.
going with it.
I mean, agree 100% that, what we want to know, what we want is we want to make sure that women are safe so that
Yeah.
nothing serious is missed,
Yeah.
that they are empowered and educated so that they can make the choice. People often associate menopause means an immediate, hormone replacement script. It doesn't have to be that way. That is a massive conversation where the landscape has changed, and then you have to take the research and the literature and personalize it to the person in front of you. So, certainly that empowerment and education piece is really important.
That's really cool. And in terms of the Georgie or Nicole, could you talk about who is actually doing this well, globally? Who's looking after women properly in this area?
Well, I think that we are on our way here. So Australia is having a Senate inquiry. So around Australia, key people that have submitted submissions to the Senate inquiry are getting up, and their voices are getting heard. But I think we're sort of a little bit behind what's going on in the UK. The UK, whether you want to be on HRT or not, they've actually got it all nationally subsidised. So it only costs you about $19 a year to access HRT, if £19, sorry, if that's what you would like to go on.
Yep.
NHS Scotland has come together as a whole country saying, well, what can we do to empower access to care for our people? And then we've got some really cool, innovative brands here in Australia that we're working with. We've got Zurich, Accenture, HCF, Melbourne Health, the list continues, Linfox, and they're really saying, right, how do we actually tackle this head on and be leaders in this space?
That's really cool. And so is it limited to corporations, or can women actually access it themselves?
Yeah, I think for us, I've got a strong B2B background. Nick's been in clinic. It's obviously really cool to validate the product. So yeah, we are leading the charge in that B2B space and working with insurers and corporates. But we do have a direct to consumer offering, and we're refining the messaging, knowing that we've got that working. And so, yeah, we would welcome anyone to get in touch with us and we can work out what's right for you.
Oh, I love that. That's really good because I mean, if you're in an organization or even a smaller organization or someone that doesn't give you access to it, to be able to do that yourself is really cool too.
Yeah, and I think that that's where Nick and I are really building out this concept of remote monitoring. So how can you pay a subscription fee to sort of have, I call it having Dr. Nick as the guardian angel on your shoulder. And so if you're welcome to share your data with us, then we can proactively support you and look after you. And that's when, if you were to read our Senate submission, we're really big on technology and how can we build our own AI, which is all safe and secure, and run that on top of our own, LLMs, so that we can deliver access exactly when you need it. Because what we see is that women do delay going to the doctor. And so if they can ask, the right question to a safe and secure environment to say, hey, I've got this, do I need to come in? Then we can get at least that first answer. And that's why I'm really excited about what AI is doing in health at the moment.
Absolutely. Oh, that's really cool. I think that a lot of people will listen to this and I think there'll be a couple of aha moments when people do listen to it and know that they're not alone, because it's not a conversation that everybody is having. And it's so good that it's coming to the fore, and we know it's a society issue, and listening to that research and understanding how, like these women in their 40s, like I speak to them all the time. And it's the time when you're at the peak of your career. Like if you have had kids, they're a little bit older. You're not as hands on as you were before. You're getting promoted. And then with all of this stuff in the background, or these symptoms, it can be really demoralizing. And it's nice that, or it's not just nice, it's essential that they have some support around them and be able to make those choices and take their health in their own hands.
I think that's it. I think one of the big learnings that we did get from the research is that we want women to understand it is not them and it is not the job. It is a stage of life that they're going through, and you will get through this. Some women, it takes a little bit longer than others, but you're not going crazy. It is real. You are here to be heard. And then, we'd love to get involved and help with that conversation.
I love that. And I love it that, Nick, you can be my guardian angel on my shoulder.
She's mine.
I take her with me wherever I go.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgie's stitching me up there, but no, so it's all good. No,
I love it. And
we're
then
just
Georgie will
really
be the
passionate.
cheerleader in the
Yeah,
background.
that's right. She's like, you go. She's pumping my tires up. She's like, you go, girl. Yeah, no, as Georgie said, we're just really passionate to find a solution that can reach and help as many women as possible, wherever they're at in this stage of their journey. Some people don't have many symptoms, some people really suffer, but we heal best in community. So that's what we're trying to build here.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's women that are so isolated, and and really with this, like it doesn't matter where they're situated or how isolated they are, they will have that support around them, because not everyone's as lucky to have you as a GP, Nicole. It can be very difficult to find sometimes, because I know how busy you all are.
Well, I think that's why I love Nick, and that's why she's my co-founder. Look, self-care is fabulous, but I think now we need to look after each other and have a concept of shared care.
Yeah.
And so it's whether you do that with your own community tribe, your work tribe, your friend tribe, whatever it is, but we're not these little islands floating alone. So it's how do we build that?
Yeah, that's really cool. I love it, bringing everybody together. Is
Mm.
there anything else you want to tell us before we wrap it up?
Well, you mentioned this is going on in a couple of weeks, and so we can share with your listeners. We'll set up a QR code, but we have more research coming up.
Oh, I
So
love it.
we are doing a study with Sydney University in September, and
Yep.
it's looking at our digital tool, and it's
Mhm.
looking at, we'll do some tests with nudging, and we'll do some tests to see whether or not it does have a great impact, and then, how that affects you with your work, getting offered a tool. So we would love to invite your listeners to join us with that.
Oh, I love that. We'll share it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. We'd anyone who wants to be part of that research, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And if anyone wants to connect with Georgie and Nicole, and obviously follow their journey as well for Metluma, and I like obviously all of their links will be there, and we'll share it all with you. But
Yeah.
it was
On social, LinkedIn, call us up. We're here to help.
Yep.
amazing.
And if
Thank
there's
you.
any guys on board and they think that they should be referring their partners or lovers, we would love to get them as well.
I'm sure
And
they
any
might
men that,
observe some of those symptoms.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Had a lovely conversation today with a gentleman who described just that. But
Yeah.
yeah, we hope that if we can solve for some of this, then we can also save a few marriages. Who knows?
Few marriages, save some families, and it all goes out to the broader community too. So
And keep women
okay.
working as much as they want to be working at their best capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, ladies. I really
Thanks, Emma.
appreciate you and I appreciate your time and the value that you bring to everybody. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for the wonderful work you're doing to spread the good word.
Oh, you
Thanks,
so.
Emma.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.